Hey, live as it were. Well, that camera is a lot better looking than the usual. No telling if that's going to be good for me or not. What's this? Right. Hold up. Yeah, with me. That's okay. All right. No telling or how good or bad the audio is. Definitely the visual on this device is a lot better, a lot clearer than my previous, my usual um, device. Let's see, default. Yep, that's good as is. All right, studio. Let's go ahead and put up the banner. There we go. Hey, that worked pretty well. Good. All right. I am putzing around, testing out a new device. Just got in this morning. My wife and I had to recently replace our usual reading device tablets. Um, and much as I despise the beast of Bezos, I will say that this Kindle Fire 10 thus far has been a handy dandy little device. Again, I've only had it for a couple of hours now, just testing out the feasibility of turning to this for use on occasional streaming. The video quality of the camera on this thing, as opposed to my aging laptop, is, I can tell visually, is um, a lot more clear, much higher quality, much higher fidelity on the video. Good God, I can actually see my stubble without fuzz or unclear visual. That might not necessarily work in my favor. This is a face for radio, as it were, as the old expression goes. So yeah, we'll see if anybody pops in. They can let me know if the audio is clear or whatnot. Which reminds me, I should probably try to get Discord running on this thing as well at some point. Um, I don't know if that app is actually available through the Kindle operating system. I haven't done a full test run to search around for what kind of programs I can get loaded up on this thing, because it's not an open operating system like just a standard Android operating system. The Kindle OS is predicated upon the Android operating system. It's based on the architecture, loosely speaking, but it's not the exact same. It has a number of proprietary um, bits of programming code. I'm not a computer technician or computer scientist. I don't understand how all that stuff works. I'm a simpleton. All right, folks. I'm just a dad. I'm a storyteller, and I'm a janitor. All right. You're not, and obviously not the most charming fellow visually speaking. Um, got plenty of work that could be done. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here for the moment being. Um, but got the device and got a case/keyboard combination that works with it. I'm going to turn that off for the moment being. Because I'm not typing right now, I'm not really utilizing that facet of the device. Um, so thus far, yeah, not bad. Like I said, it's visually very clear. I don't know how the audio is coming through, what kind of quality we've got there. Um, I'm sure someone will let me know at some point whether or not that, or I can listen to the playback of this later on and figure it out sort of for myself if the audio came through clearly or not. Um, what else? What else? I had said in the description here that I was also going to be talking a little bit since I'm just testing things out and working with technology, that I wanted to touch base on something else that is technologically significant, which is Section 230 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. I believe it's Section 230 is part of that. I may have that wrong. Again, I'm not a legal scholar either. But Section 230 is frequently brought up when talking about the protections of various social media sites and various websites that host third party content as their primary selling point or mode of operation. This is particularly this particularly applies to services and apps and sites like Facebook, X/Twitter, Truth Social, YouTube, and Rumble. Technically, are also social media applications or services. The format that and so is to a degree Substack, which I still love Substack, though I have my megrums with it. But I'm not willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater on that, just because I have a few issues with it. There's no such thing as perfect. Hey, Sarge, greetings and salutations. How you doing, brother? And welcome to the show. Since you are here, and now there is somebody I can actually ask live, is the audio coming through okay here? Because I am testing out new equipment here. Oh, I appreciate it, Sarge. Thank you for that. And I guess I'm asking, broadly speaking, is the audio coming through okay? And in terms of video and audio quality, how is this current stream compared to others that I have done? If you have a kind of a sense of comparison. Like I said, visually, I can see that it looks a lot better than when I use the laptop. But again, that could be because the laptop is a little older. The webcam that's installed on that thing, it's not ideal. It's not high quality. I know when I used to do the break time story time streams on my phone, the video quality on that was pretty okay because okay, so the audio seems good. Connection just shit out. That sucks. Sadly, that is something that does happen time to time. Technology. You really want to complain about something, or you really want to make sure shit fucks up? Use technology. Add a computer element in there. So Section 230 effectively boils down to this: social forums online, such as Facebook, such as Twitter, X, Rumble AIDS, or my Wi-Fi is weak, and it could be Rumble. You never know. Look, I prefer Rumble to YouTube. I prefer Rumble to Odyssey. I don't use Odyssey. For a while there, I still preferred BitChute to Rumble or YouTube. But BitChute has undergone a lot of problems in recent days, the last few months. And I'm not so certain how safe BitChute is going to remain as a primary place for my material to go to. They're contending with a lot of problems. And not the least of which is that they still never got their streaming shit figured out. Like for standalone video uploads, BitChute is still a pretty good place for the most part. But the last 5 or 6 videos I tried uploading to BitChute never processed. They never went through. Oh shit. Uh-oh. So you're not hearing me. Well, that's no good. Let's see if I can type this in here. To all. And I wonder if that's on Sarge's end or if that's on my end. I don't know. Uh, okay. Um, okay. Gotcha. Whoa, that's odd. Oh, because I posted it to all. Okay. Um, Section 230 has been basically the impenetrable shield that places like Facebook, X, YouTube, Instagram, what have you, Reddit even, every message board, every social media network or service and site has been able to hold up Section 230 as a shield to say we are not responsible for any of the material that goes up on our sites and services or apps because we are not publishing the material. We are not a publisher, we are a platform. And for a long time, much as I did not care for that explanation, it struck me as logically sound because X, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Reddit, name your site or service, if it's got any element of social media, including Substack, the platform is just hosting the material. It's acting as a pegboard for people to pin up their notes, to pin up their videos, to pin up their audio. SoundCloud is another sort of social site or service that operates predominantly on audio. So, because users can upload their own audio tracks, their own audio files, it would fall under the same purview of this is a messaging board. It's just a pin board where the individual users can put up their own material. We are not legally responsible for whatever it is they put up, but we have our own guidelines, and each service has their own community guidelines and their own terms of service, which work in conjunction to lay out a basic predicate foundation for the guidelines, the rules, the guardrails of what they will allow to be posted up on that site or service. A lot of diehard libertarians, I say diehard to differentiate because I'm not a diehard libertarian. I am a slightly right of center libertarian. A lot of diehard libertarians for years have been saying Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitter back in the day, before Musk took it over, they can kick out, ban, suspend whoever they want because they are a private company. I personally don't 100% acknowledge or accept that because these companies, these websites and services, they advertise themselves, they market themselves on the concept of, hey, we are a location where everybody gets an equal say, where you have the opportunity to make an account, to come on here and say whatever it is that you so choose. Sensei of Song says, Rumble Muster, greetings and salutations. Oh, good, you can hear me. Good. Uh, didn't mean to highlight that, just using the stylus. Again, I'm getting used to this equipment. So, good. So that's where I kind of disagree with the diehard libertarians in that if you are going to market yourself or advertise yourself and your service or your site as a place where everyone has an equal say or the equal opportunity to speak their piece, and then you throw up these guidelines stating, well, you can't say X, Y, or Z unless it's illegal. Like you can't come on and promote an immediate act of illegal activity against a specified target. That's against the law in pretty much every jurisdiction. But if you're going to market yourself, especially in the American marketplace, as some place where people can come and speak their mind and share their material, you can't honestly sit there and say, well, but here's community guidelines, and if you violate our community guidelines, we are within our full rights as the service provider, as the platform provider, to boot you out or to cut down what you said or to shadow ban and suppress your material or throw you out of the community altogether, to remove and destroy your account or delete your account because you violated our guidelines. Well, then you're not actually a place that allows open dialogue or free expression to any and everyone who's interested. You can't market yourself as someplace where people can come share their thoughts and opinions and perspectives and then say, oh, but within these guidelines, some people aren't allowed, or some people will be restricted and throttled. There's a problem with that. There's a real problem with that. Because you're advertising or marketing your product as a platform with equal access to all who apply for it. But that's not true, because then you enforce these community guidelines and these terms of service. The terms of service, oh, sorry, Sensei. I can't really, I don't know with this, because this is a new tablet, new device. I don't know how to adjust the sound just yet. I'm still tinkering around with things. So this is kind of just an experiment test for how I'm going to work with this in the future. I will figure out how to work with all of this as I go. So I do apologize that it's a work in progress. There we go. Yes, Sarge, that's what I'm getting at. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Glad to see that you and I are kind of of a similar mindset here with this. So you get these sites and services saying, well, wait a minute, we're going to employ some people to monitor the posts, to make sure that everything is within our guidelines, within our community guidelines, within our terms of service guidelines. That doesn't sound like a platform anymore. That sounds like a publisher. And they'll say, well, wait a minute, no, these are trust and safety team members. We need to be able to trust our platform. We want to ensure everyone feels safe on our platform. There's another word for that. Editor. Trust and safety team people on these social media sites, they're editors. Now, what is the work of an editor? An editor is there to sharpen up and ensure that the material being sent to a publisher prior to that book being sent off to market for availability, that it's as tight and as well presented as possible. They cut things out or they make suggestions of what to cut out. And if the suggestions aren't followed, well, that depends on the editor. For instance, at Bantam Del Rey, there was a good 25 year period where authors who signed on to try and be published through Bantam Del Rey were told that if they did not follow the suggestions of their editors, that they would terminate publication contracts, that they would not be put out. I will have to look that up, Sensei of Song. Well, yeah, Sarge, no one can sue Susan now for the medical misinformation horseshit because she did. But there's a difference, too, between an in-house editor and a freelance editor. As anyone who has worked in publishing as an author will tell you, whether they be a small-time independent author or someone who has worked with a mid-sized publishing press or a larger publishing press. There's a difference between an in-house editor and a freelance editor. Freelance editor is approached by the author and contracted for their assistance in cleaning up and sharpening up the manuscript so that when it is offered up to a literary agent for representation to various publishers, or when it is directly offered for representation or publication from the author to the publisher, that it is the sharpest, best version of that work that could possibly be offered up for their consideration for publication. That's a freelance editor. They're approached by and contracted by the author. An in-house editor is someone who works for a publishing house and works on behalf of the publisher to sharpen up and clean up and make most presentable for the publisher the manuscript that is being offered that they've already expressed interest in. Sensei, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you deciding to pop in and take a look, even though I apologize that your first time on my show is me testing shit out. But I just got this device a couple of hours ago. I wanted to get a feel for it. But I appreciate your patience with me thus far. And this is not usually the kind of thing I do. I usually try to focus much more on actual, bookish conversation, not so much into the tech and socio-political conversations. But technology in this case is at a hard intersection of publishing. And so I have a definitive interest in this area. And the terminology that we use, something I focused one of my more recent streams on, and the title of one of my most recent streams was "The Words You Choose Matter." Because a lot of these tech people, sorry about that, they like to play weasel word games. They like to try and putz around with definitions. They like to try to control the a priori understanding and approach to the linguistic framework of an argumentation. You can't let them get away with that. What you have to do is, if they are attempting to establish the definition of a term, and you can recognize that that is an attempted linguistic jujitsu maneuver, tell them, stop, let's reframe, because I don't accept your a priori establishment or understanding of the terminology being used within the confines of our argumentation here. Sensei, I have to wonder if Rumble is undergoing infrastructure maintenance or updates or upgrades, possibly. Okay. Oh, shit. There we go. Get that back. Just on the bench here. So within the confines of the framework of Section 230, being utilized as a shield for Facebook/Meta, X/Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, whatever. 2Shield is held up by these social media networks and services, legal departments, as a shield against any and all lawsuits and any and all legal problems, particularly when it's pointed out that, hey, you are unfairly biasing yourself against people who are of a particular X, Y, or Z socio-political perspective or ideology. For instance, TikTok is another one. They get away with allowing people to be very much in favor of the LGHD TV community And if you put up a TikTok saying anything even crosswise against them, bam, you're out. You're banned. Because no, that violates our community guidelines, or it's seen as unsafe or unpleasant and violent or nasty. And yes, Sensei puts it perfectly. Oh, good. Sarge, that's good to know. And Sensei, it's good to know that you have a background in this tech realm. Um, one way to censor people, but then use the other side to stay out of trouble. Yes, and here's what I want to kind of examine here. And you may actually be able to help me in this regard, because I could be talking out of my ass. Because this is just something that it's been bugging me. When it comes to Section 230 and their claim that, well, we're just a platform. Yes, sure, but you employ people who you call or dub your trust and safety team. What is their job? What do they do? Let's not worry about the semantics of what their title is. Let's take a look at what they actually do. What is the end result of their work on your behalf? Well, they make sure that certain things don't end up being hosted on the platform. Isn't that what an editor does at a publisher? They make sure that certain phrases or certain passages are either adapted or changed or reworked or removed entirely so that they don't appear in the final product. That's not the work of just a suggestion. That is literally what an editor does. And an editor, they work for publishers, not platforms. You don't go up to a message board like one of those old-fashioned pegboards at a college campus and see somebody come up and get paid to pull down advertisements and put up other ones. That's usually done by an RA, residential advisor, right? But nobody's paid to do that. At these social media networks, these people are paid to determine what goes and what stays. They say that that's content moderation. What does a moderator do? A content moderator. They determine what goes on the finished product and what doesn't. That's the work of an editor. Editors don't work for platforms. They work for publishers. Am I anywhere in the realm of having a logical argument here, or am I blowing smoke and just don't realize it? Sensei, I'd really like to know, am I on track to something here, or am I completely out of my depths? Because that's possible. I'm just a storyteller and a dad. I'm a schmuck. Because that's a genuine question. Like I'm not trying to expound upon. Hey, Lucian, greetings and salutations. And again, Sensei, I'm asking that genuinely because I don't know if I'm off base here or not. It could be that I've got a decent argument here. It could be that I'm completely out of my depths. Which I gotta tell you, I feel completely out of my depths 9 times out of 10 anyway. Just because I'm kind of a putz. Stepping out to the garage, it's gonna get a little darker. But I don't smoke in the house, so unless I'm down in my office. And that's because I have an air purifier device down there. Anheuser-Busch, they got told pretty hard too by the market. The market decided, hey, We don't care for all this fuckery or this Dylan Mulvaney thing. Not a fan. Oh, trust me, Sensei, I am probably on one of those lists because I went to a school board meeting. Shit, what was it, back in October? And I did some grumbling and growling. And I'm fairly certain I'm on somebody's list. Thank you, Sensei, for checking in with me on the sound coming through all right. But yeah, I don't know if I'm onto something with that observation. That content moderators, quote unquote, and trust and safety team members, quote unquote, it just sounds like a fancy term for an editor. And if these social media sites and services are utilizing and employing editors, that's not a platform anymore. That's a publisher. Publishers don't have automatic Section 230 defense or immunization or immunity. They are determining what gets on the finished product. That is not moderation outside of editing. That is editing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm inclined to believe that all of it boils down to the following. If you are going to claim to be a platform, okay, good to know, Lucian. Thank you. Yeah, the gloom out here in the garage is a bit much. It gets pretty dark out here. I'm going to move this one after I finish this. I'm going to take this down to my home office and do another quick comparison for audio and visual. But the thing I struggle with when it comes to 230, for my own part, is understanding where the legal differentiation comes in. That much, I don't know the law well enough to try and make an argument one way or the other. I'm out of my depths there. I'm no legal scholar. I'm no legal genius in any way, shape, or form. But word games and fuckery is what it all seems to boil down to for me. You claim, or Facebook claims, Meta claims, that they have people working for them who are, quote, content moderators, or they are, quote, trust and safety team. That to me is just another fancy way of saying we have editors. They'll determine what ends up on the site. Well, then you are not a platform, sir or madam. You're a publisher, and you're taking a side. Linguistically, that's what it sounds like to me. Belgian Dan, lubricated, medicated rumbler. Welcome to the show, brother. So I know that linguistically, Socratically, I think I have a decent argument here. But I don't know if I have a decent argument legally or in terms of the technology. I don't know. I'd like to think I have a decent argument because I have a decent or logical sounding argument linguistically, narratively, but that doesn't mean I actually have a strong argument legally or technologically. I don't know. I'm willing to admit that up front. I could be blowing this. I could be completely off the mark. Okay, I said that earlier, Lucian, when I first set up inside. I said, holy shit, the camera's clear enough that, when I'm inside in better lighting, I can see my own fucking stubble. And yes, that is a Jedi Order flag. Look, Disney has completely defiled Star Wars, but I don't know. I'm too much of a man-child to completely give up on Star Wars just yet. All right. Back in a moment. Be right back. All right. Let's check this up here. Yeah. May the force be with you, Harry. Hey, you're a wizard. All right. So now we're going to take this. The hazard light? Hold up. Hold on. You talking about that? Yeah. That is not a hazard light. That's not what I use it for. That light is tied to this switch in my office down here in my home office. When I flip that switch up, it means that I am down here and I am either recording or I am streaming. Oh shit, the angle on this is not great. I'll have to work on that. Oh boy. Because that's going to be like up my fucking nose if I'm not careful about it. That's going to work. There we go. That'll work. I think. But here I am in the home office, and yeah, the lighting's not great in here either. But yeah, effectively, it's a live light. It's, hey, kiddos, when they're upstairs in the playroom or family room, we call it the playroom because all the kids' toys are in there. Plus, we've got the plug and play game stick up there. If that light's on, the kids know, don't come downstairs to bug me. Or if you have a question, go ask mom. Because when the kids are home and my wife is home, when we're all home, if I come down here to record a video or record audio, I throw that light on so that they know, hey, if we got a question, ask mom. Because dad's going to be busy for 5 to 10 minutes, either making a video or recording audio for something later on. If everyone's home and I just want some time to do some writing and be left the hell alone while I'm doing it, I'll come down here and I'll throw the light on because I'm writing. And I want to have some quiet in order to do that. More like your backlit, the glow lamp on the desk behind the screen should balance it out. I wish I had a glow lamp back there. Best I can do, put that off. Those gonna come on? No, those aren't gonna come on. Son of a bitch. That one came on. Nope. Shit. Oh well. I still got some stuff to tool around with for the home office setup, as it were. But again, that's why I'm thankful for the interactive feedback. Yeah, no, we're not going to do any of that after hours. I've been thinking about getting a lamp, like a touch lamp, though, in here so that I can change up the lighting. But there's so much stuff I have to do in this little room if I'm going to do that more appropriately. Because I would like to spend a little bit of time diving more into mythology on these occasional streams rather than just constantly doing the off-the-cuff chatter and this sort of thing. USB LED lights that clip on the monitor. Oh, very possible. That's actually not bad. But my local Dollar Tree right now has some of those like battery operated touch based lamps for a desk. I'm thinking about picking one or two of them up so I can have the lights back here behind the screen, behind the device, so that I can have lighting coming from back there rather than directly overhead. And that might give me a better visual down here. But yeah, I just wanted to take a quick peek and see what this was going to look like. So we're going to pop back upstairs again. Sorry for all the movement. I'm not trying to give anyone, the herky jerkies. Let's make sure that that's still all good. Oh yeah, that's still good. All right. But yeah, a lot more moving around with today's stream than usual. And again, that's largely down to testing stuff out. But whenever I get new equipment, I like to make sure I can finagle it and see how it's going to function. Cribs edition, yeah, no, exactly. All right. If I set this here, do I get a good view of the TV? Kind of okay. I set it there for a little more padding. Could be the delay. Sorry. Oh, it's just you. Okay. No, trust me, no sex dungeon here. I'm a little too old for that shit. That and I'm a bit too straight-laced for any kind of kinky giggity shite like that. Let's see if I angle this. How that will come out. Will that work? Yeah, nobody exactly, Sensei. Nobody wanted to partake of what Dylan was selling. At least nobody with two brain cells to rub together. Where did I end up putting that? Drawer. That much I don't know. Behind there? Yes, behind there. All right. This. Come on. Bastard. Okay. Sorry about the shot on my ass. Dogs losing their mind. A little bit. All right. See that? There we go. Yeah, the dogs got to. Yeah, moderate these nuts. Dogs are Gunner and Sky. They're a little bit crazy, but the dogs. What do you want? Old school. Not too much glare from the window. There we go. Whoop, nope, that's too much glare. There we go. Now, if we can actually, it's the angle is killing it. There we go. Yeah, it's because this thing is got itself. I've got it propped up on a keyboard sink. Not sure how that's gonna work. We'll see. What are we gonna test it out? Just for Mario Kart. Check out Mario Kart and see how that comes through. Yeah, this is very old school, Dan, because it's a tablet, so there's no USB or video feed in. Mario Kart. Just do a quick time trial. And no. I usually end up going with Yoshi or Toad. Get out ahead of that train. That coming through okay? Yeah, exactly, Dan. Fucking Bowser has time to, have these world dominating machinations and plans, but he'll go out of his way to have a few laps with the boys, Yeah, I can imagine, brother. Okay, that's good enough for now. Just wanted to see how that was going to look. Again, I'm just testing everything out. The TV down in the playroom, it's like perfect eye level for my little ones, so they, of course, smudge the shit out of it. See, I still enjoy Star Wars despite what Disney has done to it. And yes, that says Revenge of the Jedi. This was based on the original UK pre-production or pre-release posters that were put up when Return of the Jedi was being planned for distribution. All right. Well, Sensei, thank you for popping in. Thank you for giving me the feedback. I appreciate that you took the time, even though this is not usually my kind of thing, and for your patience. I appreciate it, brother. But yeah, Dan, the original title of the film on that woodcut. Wait. Well, I am glad to see that this seems like it might be a workable setup for me going forward. Because my laptop is getting up there in age and functionality is starting to slip off. So for a little while at least, this will probably be what I utilize to stream with. At least until such time as I can afford to get myself a new and upgraded laptop. But for now, this seems to be a viable option for me moving forward. So this is probably what I will use. But anywho, I'm going to get going here soon. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any suggestions, or anything that I should be looking into in the future? Always open to suggestion. And dear Sarge comes in with a $10 Rumble rant. Much appreciated, brother. Always appreciate the support that you throw my way. It's not necessary, but I do deeply appreciate it. And I will also say, this is just for saying sake. And dear Sarge, giving a gifted membership to our good friend Lucian Elaveris. Thank you once again, brother. Deeply appreciate that, Sarge. You have no idea. Because I don't do streams, I don't do videos in the hopes of financial benefit. If there was a financial benefit, I would hope that it would actually come from um, any kind of purchase anyone wanted to make of books that I have available on the market. And there are plenty of those. Just saying. Anyhow, Sarge has already made purchases. He's already on the ball with that. But banners, oh God, I gotta add a new banner eventually, just so I can have an actual advertisement for my books. Um, S and E at the same time. Well, they're right next to each other on the board, on the keyboard there, brother. But Sarge, I appreciate that, brother. I never want you to feel like that's necessary. Um, but yeah, Dan, buy my book. Buy my book. Hold on a second. Let's actually go ahead and do your plug here properly. Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book. Um, that's for you, Dan. We've got available at lulu.com, amazon.com, kobobooks.com, available from Google Books or any other online digital or physical paperback selling bookstore. There is the Templarian Tale Not So Epic, which is the latest available Templarian Tale for your purchase and reading consideration. There's also one that's a little bit older now, a couple of years old, but still a good one, and with a brand new cover. It's the second edition of The Big Tour, The Tale of Daryl Steele, a heavy metal roadie for the entirety of his adult working life, working with the New Horsemen. And when they decide it's time to finally do one last tour, one big tour, that's when Daryl discovers they're called the Horsemen for a reason. That's also available at Amazon.com. It's available at Lulu.com and other fine booksellers near you or online. And then there is the newest, the latest, and the greatest from that unpleasant realm known as Amelia City. Every place has its own form of doing what's right, of putting things where they belong, of serving justice. What finer place to find poetic justice than the justice of Amelia? Also available at your bookseller of choice. Buy my crap. The shit-eating grin would be great, Lucian. I'm going to highlight that because that's a fucking great little aside. Would a natural fertilizer salesman be the only one who can get away with saying, buy my crap, or does he also need the shit-eating grin? I'd say he can both get away with it, and if he does the shit-eating grin, even better. Oh yeah, Dano. This is the cover for The Justice of Amelia. Um, my friend Crystal Weeks, she did this cover for me. She also did the cover for the big tour, the this second edition. She's done a few covers for me, always with the promise that I just send her a copy of all of my stuff for free. Um, Sarge, actually, I think it was Lucian who had said before that I should do a print of the Justice of Amelia cover. When it comes to prints, though, I have to speak to Crystal and see what she thinks of it. Because while I do work with her routinely, she has not done all of my cover art because she does do commissions for other authors as well. That's her bread and butter. For the most part, she will utilize any spare time that she has to work on cover art for small and mid-sized press authors. But that's more sort of side work for her because she does work hand in hand with other commercial digital artists and production companies for digital art. Buy or else. Well, that would work, Lucian, except that actually is the title of an Amelia City novel, is or else. I think you might know that, though. Or else is the title of an actual full-length Amelia City novel, wherein a cadre of high school students have to contend with a new transfer student who is rather bizarre and makes her presence known to the youth of Amelia City in the very way that the denizens of the less than favorable stretches of that realm have a tendency to make their presence known by leaving a trail of bodies wherever they go. Okay, Lucian. All right, yeah. That's one where I still have my author picture on the back. I don't do that on most of my uh, most works since 2015 or 2016 that I have published. I don't have my author picture on them. But nice, Dan. Double the ad, triple the payoff. Indeed. But gentlemen, it has been great being here with you once again. I thank you for your feedback and for your patience while I test out the new equipment and the new setup. I appreciate that always. Sarge, you are a gentleman and a scholar. I always appreciate your support of my work. I do hope that your daughter enjoys those books, and touch base with me and let me know what one she's reading or how far along she is. I'd like to know at some point. Get some feedback. Be much appreciated. But anyhow, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I ask that you take care of yourselves, and as always, keep reading.